What's up YouTube, Carboss here, back in the video where I talk about cards money investing. Today is a very special unboxing day of a package that I just received from Goldin Auctions. One card in here, and what's so special about this card, right? So in the title, as you can see, this is the single most expensive card that I've purchased in recent years. In fact, it's the most expensive card I've purchased aside from a Magic the Gathering card, you know, relating back to my Power 9 days. But to date, this is the most expensive card I've ever purchased, right? So I've bought expensive cards before, right? So you're talking about cards that's in a few $1,000s kind of range, but this is one card that I paid big money for, and I'm pretty high on this card. But today I'm not going to talk about why this card is good. I'm just going to touch on what's the thought process for me to pay this amount of money for this particular card, right? So I'm not going to tell you that, oh, this particular card has good potential, this is blah blah blah. No, I'm not going to go into that, but more of the thought process on determining what makes a good card for investment, especially for a high dollar card like this. So we're just going to go straight to the unboxing here, let you guys have a look, and then we're just going to do our analysis and my take on the thought process behind this particular acquisition. All right, so let's go. Fresh. I've been waiting for this to come in. Took quite a while to reach back all the way to Malaysia here, so pretty excited to see this packaging. Typical Goldin packaging, nicely done, super tight foam here. As you can see, just one card here, one slab. All right, here we go. So, spoiler before I show anybody this one, this is not a Marvel card, alright? So, sorry to disappoint you Marvel fans, but this is not a Marvel card. So let's see which way. Alright, here we go. Oops, there we go guys, that's what you can see here. It's a Lewis Hamilton. If you took a look at the serial numbering, this is number 50, which means this is a gold refractor parallel, and this specifically is the gold wave parallel, and this is a PSA 8. Boom. Super nice looking card. You know, this is the portrait, I would say, rookie card for Lewis Hamilton. One of the most desirable card, the super fractal version of this card, one of one. So you know, for $900,000, obviously this is not to that kind of level. So this one was only acquired for about $8,200, including buyer's premium. So it is the single most expensive card that I've ever purchased, right? $8,000 is a lot of money. To the cards that I normally invest in, is usually within the, I would say my sweet spot for raw cards is around the $500 to maybe $1,500 kind of range, and for graded cards, you know, I'll go up to about like $2,500, sometimes $3,000 depending on the card. But this is the first time I've gone way above and beyond for this card, right? So I want to talk a bit about the characteristics of this particular Lewis Hamilton. How does it apply in terms of train of thought on why I picked this card and spent so much money on this card? So obviously Lewis Hamilton, everybody knows, right? This is one of the GOATs in the F1, right? A lot of race wins, you can see here, right? All these accolades here that he's achieved in his stats. So it is the GOAT for F1. And when you want to pay big dollars, right, you definitely want to invest in the bigger names, you know, whether is it in sports, you talk about NBA, you know, Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, the LeBron James, right, the F1's Lewis Hamilton. If you go to Marvel, right, of course you go into the top characters, you know, the Spider-Mans, the Wolverines, you know. I wouldn't classify them as GOATs, you know, they're not directly reference points, but they are the top dogs in their respective genres, right? So if you're going to pay big dollars, definitely focus on those bigger names. Now, of course, next thing up is you come back to scarcity, right? So things like this Lewis Hamilton is number 50, so obviously there's inbuilt scarcity. These are hard to come by. And if you look at PSA 8, right, so it is like, you know, near mint grade. So kind of like, wouldn't you like prefer like a PSA 9 or a PSA 10, right? But for this year, 2020 Topps Chrome, the quality control wasn't that good overall, that good. So there was a lot of issues, especially on the edges of this particular card. As you can see, let me try and bring this up to the camera here. There is this H. Nick. Not sure if you can see in the light here. It's over right over here. So I got the sunlight coming in through my window. So a lot of these Topps Chrome, you know, they were, I think that they were hand packed, some of them. So they had some of these condition issues that a lot of them came back, mostly PSA 8. And if you talk about this particular gold wave refractor, there is no PSA 9s and above. So PSA 8 is the highest, and I think this is a pop 7 or pop 8 if I can't be mistaken, right? So there is not many of these cards around. And the next point that I have is, you know, we talk about the gold, we talk about the scarcity, you know, we talk about the grades, right? And you of course have to consider the aesthetic of the card, right? So even though if you get something that's truly rare, if it's not really the aesthetic wise, it's not pleasing to the eye, it's hard to actually pull yourself to pay that amount of money for a card. And this Lewis Hamilton here, awesome pose, right? This is his portrait pose, his iconic pose. You know, in years to come, when people are going to look back and acquire the first Topps Chrome, right? So this is the pioneer set, right? The D set for Formula One cars, you know, Topps Chrome cards, the Topps Chrome 2020. Of course, people look at dynasties whereby you come with autograph cards, but when you look for the true rookie card of Lewis Hamilton, right? You know, of course, Lewis Hamilton has been around for ages, and there are earlier cards, iterations for his cards, but a lot of people would consider 2020 Topps Chrome to be the pioneer. So when you add up all of that characteristics, right, you got Lewis Hamilton, the GOAT, the key card in the set, rare grade, nice looking card overall. I love this gold wave refractors. You have a very big piece, you know, like this is a piece to hold on long-term value going forward. It's worth paying that kind of money. Of course, to determine the kind of price value, of course, there is some level of research, and it depends on card to card, right? So based on my research, this card is $8,000. I think that it's a pretty good price to enter in, even though $8,000 is a big amount of money, right? So I want to draw another comparison to another GOAT, right, that I have here, which is this 1986 Michael Jordan Fleer card number 57 rookie card, PSA 8 as well. So what's the distinction between these two, right? So they're both GOATs, right? You can tell, of course, the PSA 8s, okay, but one thing, and of course they come from iconic set, you know, the Fleer 1986 is an iconic set by its own right, you know, and Michael Jordan doesn't have many rookie cards, right? This is his true rookie card, iconic pose. So both of them share very big similarities, and in fact, actually, talk about price points, right? Both are pretty much the same, right? This Jordan PSA 8 is trading around the $8,000 range right now, and it has gone up as high as like $15,000 at one point during the GOAT run in early 2020. But of course, that's come down quite a fair bit. So they share some similarities on that. The big difference between the two is the print runs, right? So this particular Jordan has a lot of quantities available, and it's, you know, a lot of people has at least one of this in the PC. But naturally, so there's more Jordan collectors around than Lewis Hamilton. So this one has a bit of the advantage in the sense that it has a true scarcity from the serial number, and it's a more limited print runs compared to these 86 that was mass produced, right? But in general, both of them share a lot of common traits, you know, being iconic cards, and both of them being valued today at about roughly $8,000. Now, of course, you know, looking at a card that's produced more than 30 over years later, right, in this particular gold refractor, nicer shine to it in a sense, right? So this is very pleasing to the eye. Both cards, good high quality investment cards. You know, I didn't buy this Jordan at $8,000, even though it's valued today for $8,000, but much lower back then. I think I bought this for about like close to $3,000 a couple of years back. But for this one, $8,000, big card, big money. I think that this is one particular piece that I'm pretty high on, that meets all the characteristics on why you put that amount of dollars into a single card, right? So it just so happens that this is a Lewis Hamilton. Maybe it doesn't appeal to some of my Marvel viewers, you know, but you can take the similar kind of characteristics and similar kind of points in determining whether or not you should shell out that kind of big money for a particular card. All right, hope you guys took something out of this video and understand my train of thought. Just super excited to see this Lewis Hamilton finally appear on my doorstep here. I'm just gonna hold on to this one for a while now. All right, do like and subscribe, follow my other content, and till the next one, Cowboys out.